you mentioned it in the beginning, and this is one of the things that I really wanted to talk to you about. It that also inspired me while you were on the interview with Owen. You were mentioned, and I don't know if you hung it up already, but you mentioned that you used to have a sign above your computer saying, I believe you said, um, it was a question.
Wasn't it? It's prioritize, focus, systemize, love.
Yeah, and
Oh no, there's another one about yeah, I don't have it actually here on this new office, but yeah,
okay.
is the time I would be spending on this project worth the time I could be spending with my family?
That's the one. Absolutely. So that's the one I want to talk about because the fathers have been reaching out to me, and I have a forum where I would like to get to know them a little bit better on, okay, so, how many children do you have and what's your biggest challenge at the moment? And tons of them have been saying, the biggest challenge is time management. Now, um, that I just really want to hear of like, okay, how do you go about managing? Because with your wife and you know your house full of kids and your business you just mentioned you're bringing out 4 videos a week. That's immense amount of work. How do you go about managing everything so everything gets the attention that it deserves?
Well, that's, I think, the key is not everything deserves attention. And
Okay.
you've really got to zero in on what's important, and not everything can be important. And you've got to just identify. So I use the priority matrix, and, I quickly, the priority matrix, you look at there's four, if you can imagine, there's two factors. There are things that are urgent and things that are non-urgent. And then there are things that are important and things that are non-important. And they will fall into one of four categories. And you've got over here in the top left-hand corner, you've got things that are important and urgent. Then you've got things that are important and non-urgent. And then below, you've got this dangerous area. These are things that they're not important at all, but they're urgent, and they're not important, but they are not urgent. Now, things like social media, if you're spending a lot of time on social media and it's not your job, like you're not a social media manager, like you are wasting your time. Like I think I can see where in a business, I got a social media business, I get this, but I've got people that like manage that now. I mean, I have people that I'm paying, you know, I earn for what I earn. I should not be spending my time, there. And let's just face it, the internet and social media, that's a never ending job. Like if you're and spending a lot of time in email, like why are you always spending all this time in email? Do you get paid to answer emails? No, you get paid most likely because you're an engineer and you solve problems, or you're a sales guy and you make sales. And I think sales guys are some of the best to learn from, the successful ones, because they realize like there's only a few things that they do that are really super valuable. Sales guys that work 3 hours a day and make $300,000 a year, I like those guys, because to me, they understand what's important. They understand what's going to really make money, and that's all they do and nothing else. And they go take vacations and they work. They show up to work late, they leave early, but they make it rain. They also focus in on things that are important. And I'm not saying that if you're a scientist that you shouldn't, that not everything but I am saying that, yeah, a lot of you think you're working 10 to 12 hours a day, but you're not. You're spending a lot of time doing things that are non-important or that could be optimized. And you may work with your hands. You may be a plumber. You may be saying, Antonio, whatever, like I work 14 hours a day and everything I do is important. Is that true? Because if you own that plumbing business, like why are you driving to and from the site? Why don't you, like, you should be the guy like that's running the company, not the guy that's actually out there like being the foreman still. And that's, I mean, if you really want to spend time with your kids and if you really want to be making as much money as you're making, you have to realize that you can only be that frontline guy for so long before you got to take a step back as the owner or as a high level manager and make sure that you're effectively using your own people so that then you can sit back and work that 35-hour, 40-hour week. In fact, with my company, I kind of run it like a French company in that we have a 35-hour work week that I try to keep, because I feel that if you're working more than that, you're not working effectively or efficiently. Now, we do have 50-hour work weeks during the holiday season whenever we get really busy. But I try to give people less hours. Like I would rather just get things done. I don't, that's what I look for, not how many hours you work.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned that. I think they were even trying something new in, I believe it is Sweden, where they were reducing the hours dramatically to like not 8, but going to 6 or maybe even 4 hours a day, paying them the same. And they were noticing that they were actually getting more results and better results than having people work 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's curious how that works.
I think, and I think that there's a point, like I actually enjoy what I do. And if you're, that's another thing is I try to make sure everyone on my team in my company and people I think are really successful, they actually want to work more because they love what they do. And so it feeds them, it gives them energy. And if you can find that, then you have another problem, which is literally you have to cut yourself off. And what you're trying to make a decision, just simply where's the best place to spend your time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I really appreciate it. It's so important for people to realize that more. I was actually yesterday talking to someone, and she was saying that her husband leaves at 7 o'clock in the morning and comes back at 8, 9 o'clock at night. So if you have little ones, that means you just don't see them at all. Just you can give them a
Yep.
kiss when they're still asleep, which
And
is
that's tough. That's a tough spot because, but what they're probably doing is they're probably commuting. They're probably spending a lot of time traveling. And you've got to be asking, like, is there a better way to be able to set that up? Because that is, and I get that some industries are like that, like investment banking. There's consultants. I have a friend, he's traveling 3 out of 4 weeks a month. Like he's on the road traveling. There are truck drivers. I get that's the way that industry is. But if your family's truly important to you, maybe you should get out of that industry. That's one of the reasons I love the Marine Corps. I love the Marine Corps. I think it's great, but I know that the Marine Corps is not family friendly. That's just reality because you're going to get deployed. You're going into a combat zone. And so for me, I made the decision, like, I don't want to have this. I don't want to have, like, look at look at your boss, look at your boss's boss. And if you don't like how many hours in his lifestyle, like, what are you working towards? And maybe you need to be honest with yourself and say, you know what? I would rather go start my own company or work for a company that has, maybe I should work for a government. I'm not saying government wouldn't fit me, but let's just face it. They don't make maybe as much money, but they have really nice benefits. It's like, and that's why a lot of people make that choice.
yeah, exactly. Great. Hey man, I hope you got all the information out that you were looking for. If so, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you hit the bell, then every time we come out with a new video, you will be informed. For now, thanks for listening, and I hope to see you soon.